You've probably seen this truck, the legendary Volvo F88, a vehicle that changed the game in Europe and became the gold standard for reliability. But few people know one inconvenient detail. This masterpiece of Swedish engineering almost never saw the light of day. It was created for one reason only: to save the company after a massive failure in the US market. Today, we'll find out how one catastrophic mistake forced Volvo to completely rethink its approach to manufacturing. How did the secret System 8 come about? Why did this particular truck become the flagship of the Soviet Sovtransavto? And what strange detail under the hood forever closed the door for the sweeps to Britain? Let's head back to the distant 60s. At the start of this turbulent decade, Volvo radically changed its approach to manufacturing. If in the 50s, post-war Europe needed heavy bonneted dump trucks for construction, by the 60s the situation had changed. The European Economic Community was formed, customs regulations were simplified, and a real boom in international trade began. New masters appeared on the new pan-European highways, long-haul road trains. They had to be not just durable and dynamic. Most importantly, they had to become a comfortable second home for drivers, whose trips now lasted not just one shift but several days, crossing multiple countries. Recognizing this trend, in 1964, Volvo released its first cab-over-engine truck, the 4951 Tip Top, built on the legendary Titan series. The Swedes hoped to conquer the US market, where cab-over trucks dominated the highways due to strict size restrictions. But the plan didn't work out. The model didn't achieve success in America. It was a failure that forced Volvo's management to conduct a tough review of the entire production process. The result of this review was a new large-scale program called System 8. The essence of it was a deep modernization of 8 key elements of the truck: the engine, transmission, frame, rear axle, suspension, steering, braking system, and even the name itself. In addition, the company switched to a modular approach. Now, new trucks with different cabs and chassis were built on a single shared platform. This brilliant solution made it possible to unify parts as much as possible. Production became cheaper, repairs and workshops became simpler, and Volvo itself was able to respond instantly to the needs of different markets. The first product of this program was the Volvo F88, which rolled off the assembly line in Gothenburg in 1965. From its predecessor, the Tip Top, the new model inherited a cab-over design with a hydraulic tilting mechanism. This was incredibly convenient. The driver had quick access to the engine, which made it easy to service the vehicle even out in the field. The cab itself, with its new angular design, became a true oasis of comfort. The driver sat in a comfortable spring-mounted seat with plenty of adjustments. The instrument panel became intuitively easy to use. Thanks to the cab being raised higher, the engine tunnel inside got smaller, which also reduced noise and vibration levels. A powerful ventilation and heating system was added, and for rest, a spacious two-person sleeper was set up behind the seats. Moreover, to keep the driver from falling asleep to the monotonous hum of the diesel engine, a radio receiver was included as standard. But comfort isn't everything. Even back then, Volvo was obsessed with safety. The F88 cab became one of the first in the world to pass the extremely strict Swedish crash tests. It was tested by striking the pillars and roof with a 1-ton pendulum. This wasn't done for nothing. On the forest roads of Scandinavia, collisions with heavy moose are common, so the cab had to withstand massive impacts while preserving the driver's survival space. It was literally as tough as a tank. While the cab didn't change all that drastically, the engineers completely redesigned everything inside. The frame and leaf spring suspension were significantly reinforced. A new 8-speed manual transmission appeared, and for extreme loads, you could order a 16-speed gearbox. Under the cab beat a new heart, a refined 6-cylinder Volvo D100 diesel engine. With a displacement of 9.6 liters, it produced 200 horsepower, and the turbocharged version delivered a full 260. And here, it's worth mentioning another impressive fact. It was with the arrival of the F88 that the term million miler became widely used among truckers. For this truck, driving 1,000,000 kilometers without a major engine overhaul wasn't a miracle, it was the norm. With such features, the F88 was simply destined for success. It was sold in more than 60 countries around the world. But Volvo's triumph wasn't a walk in the park, because a real war was raging on Europe's highways. The main rival was another Swedish legend, the Scania 110 series, as well as the German Mercedes-Benz and the Dutch DAF. However, Volvo had an undeniable trump card. While competitors were only experimenting with ergonomics and kept making cramped cabs, the F88 was already offering full comfort and a tilting cab. It was this truck that forced other manufacturers to catch up with the Swedes, kicking off fierce competition in the market. After beating its rivals in Europe, Volvo set out to conquer new markets. This truck became a true symbol of the TIR system. The blue plate on the radiator grille meant that the truck could cross borders without unnecessary customs checks. But the most interesting challenge for these trucks awaited them far beyond the bounds of civilization. It was the Volvo F88 that became the main character in one of the most dangerous chapters in the history of long-haul trucking, the Middle Eastern routes. In the 1970s, European drivers used these trucks to haul cargo to Iran, Iraq, and even Afghanistan. Imagine thousands of kilometers of rough terrain, desert heat, mountains, and sandstorms. For many other trucks, that would have been a one-way ticket. But the Swedish F88 held up, once again proving its phenomenal reliability. But the market had its own rules. In Sweden and Australia, they allowed much heavier road trains than in the rest of Europe. That's why in 1970, Volvo released a specific modification called the G88. They shifted the front axle and extended the wheelbase. As a result, the total weight of such a road train increased from 48 to 55 tons. By the way, speaking of Australia, on that continent, Swedish trucks ended up in the real hell of the outback. G88 modifications were used to create the legendary Australian road trains. Just imagine this boxy tractor hauling 3 or 4 trailers through unbearable heat and the red dust of the desert. It was there, in the planet's most extreme conditions, that the Volvo chassis ultimately proved its indestructibility. And in 1971, a new problem appeared on the horizon. Germany raised the minimum power requirements for trucks. To avoid losing this huge market, Volvo created the powerful F89. They squeezed a massive 12-liter engine with 330 horsepower under its cab. It was like trying to fit an elephant into a regular fridge. The engineers found a simple solution. They installed the new engine at an angle, diagonally across the engine compartment. The solution worked, but it had an unexpected side effect. Because of this layout, it became impossible to make a right-hand drive version. That's how the British market was closed off to the F89 forever. Instead, they sent a specific turbocharged version of the F88 with 312 horsepower there. By the way, from the outside, the powerful F889 was easiest to recognize by its huge black plastic radiator grille. It was so wide that drivers nicknamed the car the Whale. This giant air intake was absolutely necessary to provide oxygen and cool that same mighty 320 horsepower engine. Interestingly, the Volvo F88 became one of the first Western trucks to break through the Iron Curtain. In 1974, the Soviet government leased the first 20 F88 tractors. Later, they bought another 73. They operated in the legendary Sovtransavto on the Moscow-Leningrad-Stockholm-Gothenburg route. The reason for the purchase was simple. Swedish trucks were far more reliable and economical than the domestic Maz trucks. Besides, it was convenient to service them on trips to Scandinavia. At the end of 1975, the first 330 horsepower Volvo F89 rigs arrived in the USSR. The Union liked these tractors so much that they immediately ordered 150 units for the motor pools in Bryansk, Minernalia Vody, and Rostov. The powerful and comfortable Swedish trucks quickly became the calling card of Sovtransavto on European roads. In total, by 1978, more than 600 F89 series trucks were operating in the USSR. Back home in Sweden, the legendary F88 stayed on the assembly line all the way until 1977. Over 12 years, more than 61,000 trucks were produced, most of which were exported. The impact of this truck went far beyond logistics. It became a true cultural icon. The F88 often appeared in European road movies of that era. And for millions of boys around the world, this truck became a dream toy. Scale models from famous brands flew off store shelves. Even those who had never sat behind the wheel of a real tractor could instantly recognize that boxy Swedish silhouette. A decade had passed since the last F88 rolled off the line. The few units that have survived to this day are no longer just trucks, they're vintage classics, true masterpieces of Swedish engineering that still bring a nostalgic smile to anyone who once held the wheel of this iron giant. But most importantly, the legacy of the F88 hasn't disappeared without a trace. It became the solid foundation on which the next generations of Swedish trucks were built. The famous F12 series, and later the modern flagships. The principles of safety, modularity, and unprecedented care for the driver established in the 8 system became the foundation of the entire brand's DNA. So every time a brand new, space-age looking Volvo F8 passes you on the highway, remember, it was this boxy workhorse from the 60s that paved its road to success. And what do you think about the legendary Swedish Volvo F-Series? Share your impressions and memories in the comments. And don't forget to give a like if you enjoyed the story.